They're putting in a modular home right here. And modular homes can be built super fast. How fast, do you ask?
So I can build a 3,000 square foot home here in just 6 days.
They can be custom built any way you want to. They can be built for affordability. And in this video, I'm going to prove to you, modular homes are better than stick built. Would you have even considered doing a traditional build?
No.
No, okay.
I would never go back to a traditional build, to be honest with you.
Either. In this video, you're going to be meeting some people that live in modular homes and are having them constructed right now. I'm also going to be taking you into the factory to see exactly how a modular home is constructed. And then you can tell me at the end, do you think that modular construction is better than stick built? I bet I change your mind.
It's like Willy Wonka. Welcome to our factory.
Westchester Modular was kind enough to let me spend the last 3 days there going through their entire factory. The thing is, there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to modular homes. And one of them is the fact that they think that the only modular home that you can get is a box.
I was a little tentative myself. You know, what I knew of modulars are like a salt box house, and it's nothing like this. I would have never imagined it would look like this.
Right. And even if you see it right here, you're seeing these boxes put together and you're thinking, oh God, I don't know if I really want a modular home. Well, let me enlighten you a little bit. If you were driving down the road, would you even consider that this house is a modular home? I bet you wouldn't, because I certainly wouldn't.
I didn't realize how the modular process worked. I really thought, okay, you drive these pieces down and you put them together like Legos, and then what? Right? How does it stay together? What's incredible is the amount of work that gets done in a factory. Mm-hmm. And then they come here and you're like, I still don't see it being put together. I don't get it. And we lived down the street in an apartment, so we were able to come all the time, and I was just fantastic. It was so great. They were all great. They all explained exactly what was going on. But
come on in. Let's go take a look. How long ago did you guys deliver this?
June 3rd.
Oh, so this is where the two pieces came together?
Right here.
Yeah.
Right, so you can see how when John was telling you in the factory where the LVLs are and the big open spans are, then we end up patching it here on site. So that's what that sheetrock is coming straight across that here.
Floors there.
Now, here's the big misnomer. Everybody says, well, John, I can only build up to a 15'7" wide modular. My room's confined to 15'7". The answer is no. What we do, you can see where these two halves are going to come together here. There's microlam beams in the ceiling joists that are spread apart. Once I marry these two modules together, we ship the material for the builder to finish the drywall between the two. So this person's actually going to have a 30-foot wide room at the end of the day.
Well, we like how everything is complete. A lot of work is done. You don't have to come in, frame it, wire it, sheetrock. This saves so much time. Some people are afraid of modular homes. They think stick built's better. Modular homes, there's a lot of quality in it.
There is.
Yeah.
There's quality cabinets, quality, everything is nailed, screwed, glued. And this is 9-foot ceilings. People don't realize they can put a 9-foot ceiling in them.
The factory installed those cabinets, countertops, sinks, faucets, everything you see here, the windows, everything was done.
I dig it. Yay! Well, this is exciting because you haven't seen it in a while either.
No, sir, about a weekend or two ago, because I dropped off my ceiling fans.
I love
That's
it.
what I mean by the bathroom. I had the big seat because there was nothing.
Oh, so is this the main bedroom?
Yeah, this is the master.
Okay.
So this is a lot wider. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that big before.
Well, are you doing wood? What are you doing in here? What kind of flooring?
It's laminate, but it's a waterproof. So
Yeah.
for animals, so I'm doing it upstairs and downstairs.
Another misconception when it comes to modular homes is the fact that they think they are very limited on the choices they get for their homes. Just like any builder you work with, stick built or modular, you can walk into their showroom and they will give you all the options that they have available.
Anything that I get here in this selection center is a very controlled environment. When I say that, I know how much the tile here costs. If you ended up going to a Dow tile, distributor, they may or may not be able to tell you what our actual cost is. And it's like a kid in the candy store. You can get a marble tile that's $30, $40 a square foot and completely blow somebody's budget not even knowing. So I like the idea of, okay, here's everything. I can tell you what everything in this room is going to cost based on the floor plan, the square footage, and everything else that you're building. And then from there, if you want to upgrade anything, by all means, that's not a problem at all.
Yeah. Can I go downstairs?
Yes.
we're finishing the basement, so.
What is the R value of a basement insulation?
So R21.
Oh, there you go.
Is what we're installing. Mm-hmm. Is higher than code requires, but that's what
What does code require?
because it's a basement. I believe it's R13 or R15.
It looks like cotton candy.
Yeah, don't eat it.
Why is this like so far out?
So what you're seeing is the concrete foundation wall is coming into about 10 inches or so. And then what we do is for the insulation, we fur the framing. We build the frame wall about 1.5 inches, 2 inches off of that concrete wall, giving it a little bit of a buffer, if you will. The lumber's not touching the concrete. And then the insulation, so that's why you get that thick wall here versus if you were to go on the first floor, it would only be a single thickness wall, 2x6 exterior wall.
Have you ever been to a job site and they have the traditional built homes? You see all the construction work there. You see all the sand piled up. You see all the building materials. They'll have roofing nails everywhere. And do you know what they do with those materials afterwards? They literally scoop them up, stick them in the yard, and then throw sod on top of them. When you're dealing with modular homes, not only are you dealing with a much cleaner work site, this is a plus for you because it's less likely that people are going to come onto your job site where your house is being built and have a bunch of people trying to steal materials from your property.
But it's people stealing material off of a job site, which would happen quite often, right? So they don't have that because everything is built here under roof. So from the sill plate up, all that material is in the house when we deliver it to the job site. So it eliminates pilferage. The units never have an opportunity to get wet because everything is built under roof, which is another inherent advantage because there's no moisture. No moisture, can't produce mold. At this stage too, if you take a peek in here, you'll see the plumbing is in. Again, we're stick building houses, conventionally stick building houses. We're using the same material. We're installing it just more efficiently. You'll never see a clean job like that on a conventionally built job site.
Since the pandemic, many home builders have been passing on the higher prices on to the buyers. I even saw it in 2021 where a homeowner was under contract for a home that cost $350,000, but when it got closer to the time for the house to be finished, slid over a new contract saying that the house is now worth $450,000. When you're dealing with modular home companies, they have the controlled pricing. It's never going to be one of those last minute slide across the table here you go, it's now $450,000.
Now, one of the other advantages in modular construction is we buy in such volume, our materials. We buy this drywall directly from the mill. We don't go to the local lumber yard, local big box store and buy any of our materials. We're buying directly from the mill. So it's not just drywall, same thing with lumber. We buy our lumber directly from the mills, cutting out the middlemen, being able to buy in very large volume, tractor trailer loads of material. We get very good discounts, and that's part of the affordability process of building a modular home. Not just affordability, but control of cost. We know exactly what our labor rates are on this factory floor every single day. So I know exactly how long it's going to take us to build a house, and I know how much that labor cost is, so it takes the guesswork out of giving somebody a price.
Yeah, because everything's controlled in this factory, so you already know the materials are here and a rough estimate of how long it's going to take for that module to be built.
Exactly. I know what the material costs are, I know what my labor costs are, so there aren't cost overruns.
Right.
I don't go back to a customer halfway through the production process and say, it took an extra day or 2 or 3 to build your house, so I've got to send you a change order. It doesn't happen.
Right, because of weather,
Well, exactly, no delays, no weather delays, because we build 52 weeks a year. Guess what? Because we're under roof.
So this question comes up a lot when it comes to finding a modular home company. Most people want to know if they need a specialized modular home builder. Do they have a certain kind of license when it comes to building modular homes? And in most cases, no. But in some states, yes.
There is not a specialty license just to build modular in the state of Mass. Now in Maine, the Maine State Housing Board does have a special license to build manufactured and modular. 2 different products, obviously, but they still require a license to build either one.
All right, this needs to be said. There's a difference between a modular home and a manufactured home. Both of them are made in a manufacturing plant. I know you've heard me say this 1,000 times, but if you're new to this, you might see something that's called a manufactured home and they'll tell you that they could put modular components on it. Just because they take the chassis off the bottom does not make it a modular home. There are specifications that make it modular. I blame the National Association of Home Builders for blurring this line because they've never made it very clear on who can use the word modular.
This is built to IBC. Certain states have IRC, but there's a transition to IBC. So we meet and have to, we are required to build to the same code requirement as a conventionally stick-built home. There is no difference. Unlike a mobile home, which is built to a HUD code, which we all know was a code that the government came out with to provide very affordable housing.
While we have you here, we were talking earlier about how there's been a blurred line with the word modular, right? So a lot of HUD certified homes are now saying they're modular because they're no longer on chassis, right? But that isn't what makes a true modular, correct?
It is not a true modular. It's still built to a HUD code. It's not built to the same code as a conventionally built home. It's still built to that affordable specification that the government developed. So even though it doesn't have a chassis, even though it doesn't have wheels on it, it's not built to the same code that we're building to here.
Do you know what the difference is? Like what makes it a HUD code? Does it have to do with the 2x4s? Is it the wind speeds? Is it the type of trellising? What is it that makes?
It's really all the above. It's the materials that they can use for the house. There's less stringent requirements for energy codes and things like that. So yeah, there's a substantial difference between the codes.
Right. So
and that's why they could build for so much less. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a need and there is a big market for HUD code product, mobile home product.
I love a mobile home.
Yeah. Listen, some of them are absolutely gorgeous. They do a beautiful, wonderful job. But we want to make sure that the buyers understand it is not built to the same code requirement that a conventionally built home is. In our minds, there's no line to be blurred there. It's very simple. You're either built to a HUD code or you're built to a modular code, which is the same code as a conventionally built home.
When it comes to financing modular homes, people also get this confused because they think that they can only qualify for one specific loan. The thing is that if you're working with your lender, they're going to talk you through the whole entire process. In some cases, you're going to end up working with a builder that already has a piece of land, or you may have to find a piece of land to have your modular home built on. During that process, while you're getting the land prepared and your financing in check before the houses start arriving, you're going to have something called a new construction loan. And then once the house is complete, then you'll have a traditional 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And the appraisal process works exactly identical to any traditional home building. It's just as easy peasy, lemon squeezy as it always has been when you're building a home. A modular home is a custom built home built better than a traditional stick built house. Fight me on it.
Let's fight.
It's true.
Conventional financing. Conventional financing, it's going to appraise the same, if not better in some cases. It's going to appraise the same. HUD code product is not going to appraise the same.
It's not. The price per square foot is cheaper for a HUD home. The appraisal process is different. The financing process is different because it's a different type of quality home.
Right.
Still a good home.
100%.
One of the most impressive things about modular homes is how incredibly quickly they can be built.
So I can build a 3,000 square foot home here in just 6 days. From the start, I start cutting parts and pieces till the time it is finished at the end of my production line. And you'll see it, kitchen's in, bathrooms in, walls are painted, some of the floor coverings are down, roof is shingled, windows are in and trimmed.
And you're probably asking yourself, why don't they just go ahead and build a bunch of these modular homes? Well, there's two reasons. One of them, the public looks at modular homes in a different way until they actually see how they're being built. That's why I'm doing this video. The second reason is there's a lot of red tape. And that doesn't matter if you're a modular home company or a traditional home company.
So we not only had FEMA specs, but we also had the town and town zoning, FEMA zoning. It was to fit this home into what was existing. We would have never been able to do it because our home wasn't to code because it was so old.
Right.
So they had to really work very, I honestly, diligently, and it was so specific down to the detail, like what, not an inch over, a quarter an inch, can't do that. I think we went back and forth with the town a few times, and that's what most of the process was, this permitting.
The dogs are paid actors.
Sorry, yes.
I love them. Are you kidding? Could local governments or even federal governments work with modular home companies like yourself to have those done even faster?
Definitely.
What would that take?
It would take the local municipalities and the local governments streamlining the process. One of the issues that we face now is just the time frame before we get to the point where the builder has a building permit. That time frame has exploded from maybe a week or two, and in some municipalities it takes 6 or 9 months just to get a building permit. We can still build a house in a week in the factory, but if the local agencies could compress the time before we can build a house on the line, then the overall time frame shrinks by a ton. We found out during COVID, a building department may have 30 days to look at a set of plans, then a builder would go into the set of plans. There's nothing else on the desk but that one set of plans. But if they're entitled to 30 days to look at it, they say, we'll come on back in 4 weeks and I'll give it to you, even though there's nothing else being worked on. So sometimes I think it's a little bit of a make-work program. We're just trying to stay busy, because if you process it quicker, then the desk is empty again.
Many of you are worried about the quality of a modular home, especially if you haven't seen it before and you're trying to compare side by side. Because these homes are built in a factory first before they are brought to the location, they have to go through extra steps along the way to make sure that they meet those specific specifications. And what surprised me, and I didn't know, is that modular homes have to go through a quality check first before they ever even go to the site. There is a whole breakdown of exactly each and every step.
Oh, very good. Yes, this is the quality assurance. So this is actually a requirement by our third-party inspection agency. You can see that we've got a sign-off system where the supervisor in this area has to check it off, and then our quality control people, who are actually educated and certified by our third-party agency, they all have to check that off. And then when our third party comes through, they will spot check this to make sure that we're doing our due diligence here.
I don't know about you, but how many houses could travel down the highway at, 60 miles an hour and still make it there in one piece? I don't know if my current house, which is not a modular home, could make it.
Now, Kristina, something really interesting. We built to the same specs. In a lot of cases, we're using the same, if not better, materials than what you would use to conventionally build a home. However, I have to build the house stronger. Why do I have to build the house stronger? Because it's going down the road. Not only is it being traveled over the road, I'm then going to lift it up by 2 cables that are going to wrap around this very long 64-foot module. 2 cables are going to lift it up that are attached to a crane. It goes up in the air about 30 feet and it comes down and sits on the foundation. I've got to build it super strong so it's not twisting and turning while I'm delivering and setting the house. So for that reason, we do a lot of special construction where I'm doubling up my 2x10 perimeter bands. I've got plywood sandwiched in between the 2x10s with glue, and I face nail these together so it gives it that extra strength for transportation purposes. Here's the really neat part. This is the point where convergence meets, because the floor system is going to go down on the I-beams, but while we were building the floors over here, back in the foreground, we're building the wall systems. So the walls are being built at the exact same time. So you talk about efficiency.
Already start, John.
And if you come over here, I'll show you our fastening method. Unlike conventional stick building, on at least one side of the wall, we spray in this urethane-based foam adhesive. So this spray gets sprayed in between the seam of the drywall and the stud. This is our fastening method. What this does for us is, if there's any crown to the lumber, the smallest little crown, it'll fill the gap between the crown of the lumber and the stud, giving us a nice straight wall.
These things are built so incredibly tight. So tight, in fact, I want to show you more of what they were showing me in the factory, because my jaw dropped. These things are so energy efficient.
There's, in a lot of states now, the code requires us to do things that will require an ERV system. to allow air exchange in a house. We tell all of our customers, you need to put an air exchange system in your house, okay? Because if your house is built too tight, yes, it can trap moisture. These ERV systems that go in, especially in a very highly insulated home, are very necessary from an air quality standpoint and air exchange standpoint to eliminate any trapped moisture inside.
How much are those systems, what are they called?
It's called an ERV.
ERV. How much are those systems for, let's just say, a 2,000 square foot house?
You could be probably $2,200, $2,400 to put that kind of a system in a house. By the way, this is still day one of the production process. So in one day, the floors are framed, the walls are framed, in just one day.
Are you convinced yet? I want one of those houses for myself.
Only for you will build a house and have somebody ship it to Baton Rouge.
So do you still think that stick-built homes are better than modular homes? Let me know in the comment section below. To watch more videos about modular homes and what exactly a modular home is, you're going to want to watch these videos right here. My name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, and I tell you all this because good real estate information matters.